Hi, my name is Paul Macon. I'm the product director of the Mojaloop Foundation, and I wanted to show you this recording today of a demonstration of our work on G2P payments. This is quite an important piece of work that the community has undertaken. It's all about being able to make a payment to a MOSIP-based personal payment token. So a G2P payment, very often a social payment, is all about the ability to make large volumes of payments to individuals, and very often sending it to their mobile phone number or to their bank account or whatever is less efficient. It's much better to pay it to their identity and then leave the routing or the association between an identity and a bank account to the individual. So the aim is to make large social payment runs much more efficient and less error prone. This piece of work has been undertaken as a collaboration between different open source digital public goods projects. As you can see here, we have MOSIP. That's probably our primary partner in this piece of work. A G2P beneficiary would have a MOSIP digital identity. MOSIP is an open source implementation of a nation scale personal digital identity system. Choosing MOSIP in this context was perhaps a brave decision because MOSIP is very strongly privacy preserving, and so that made it more difficult to perpetuate an identity across the various open source projects. But if you're going to get this to work properly, then it's best to do it in the most difficult environment, and that's what we've done. In combination with MOSIP, we have obviously Mojaloop. We're providing the glue that sticks everything together and routes between the organization that wants to make the social payments and the accounts where those payments are to be made into. And finally, we have Mifos, which is an open source banking system. This is the banking system we've chosen to use for this particular demonstration. A G2P beneficiary in this context, in the context of this demo, has an account there. What's missing in terms of the digital public good projects we could work with is the Open G2P project. And that's simply because that added an extra layer of complexity just a little too far. So instead, we developed the concept of a portal which could be integrated with Open G2P. And you'll see that during the demo later on. The partners in this effort, I think this is quite an important step forward in the Mojaloop community. The work has been led by Infotax, in particular Paul Baker, who's done a huge amount of work on this, and I'm very grateful to him for leading on this. And then we have worked again with Spark Systems. We've done a lot of the work around the portal, and Elijah, who has done a great deal of integration work, particularly with Mifos. I'm very proud to be able to say we've got this to work. It works end to end. I can't claim to have done any of the work myself, but at least I provided the impetus. So with that, I'll hand over to Paul Baker of Infotax. Over to you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul. I've really enjoyed working on this project for a couple of reasons. The first one is I think this is a very valuable design for the G2P community, and I've loved working with the engineering teams proving out this design. The other reason is it is a good match of the three digital public goods that we are tying together. I think it takes advantage of what each of those are particularly good at. And lastly, it's been a community effort, and it's been an opportunity to get other people in the community directly involved in work stream delivery, which has been fantastic. So let me start by describing exactly what we built. Here on the slide, this purple circle represents our payment registration portal. which is really the key component that ties these three digital public goods together. And what it provides is a payment alias that is personalized. In other words, it has a personal profile or login or access, and we use MOSIP's identity registration function to perform that action. So let me give you a high-level view of it first, from the perspective of a person who requires a beneficiary payment. They go to the beneficiary organization. This might be a government or some NGO, and they register to try and get the benefit. And in the due diligence process, at some point, the beneficiary management system is going to want to work out how to pay that person. And that's where the payment registration portal comes in. So we didn't build a beneficiary management system. We just mocked that up. We know that other people have done a really good job there, but we want to show how their system can use the payment token registration portal. How it does this is through a redirect. It's an OpenID Connect redirect, which is the fancy way of saying it's a remote login. So you just redirect to this remote login site, and then we leverage MOSIP to identify the person, and then we do some other checks, and then we create a payment token and return that token back to the beneficiary management system. What that means now is the beneficiary management system, whenever it needs to pay that individual, can use that token to make payment. And it does this in the normal mechanisms through their bank that is connected to Mojaloop. So why is this significant? It could just be a normal payment token. And the reason why it's significant is the benefactor can now go directly to the payment token registration portal and leverage the same login user identification method that we get from MOSIP, and then change their account information, and we'll perform the same set of checks that we did when we originally put that token together. The beneficiary can reset that token to a new account information, and then that payment token will continue to work, but now be redirected to the new payment token account. Okay, I'm going to hand over to Eugene, who's going to take us through a more detailed walkthrough on exactly what happens during that payment token registration action.
Thanks, Paul, for such detailed explanation. Before jumping to the demo, I'd like to provide you with UI screens to have a better understanding how all these components link together. As Paul mentioned, first of all, to get any payments, beneficiary should register payment token in a beneficiary management system. So here we can see the screen, and after clicking register token, the user will be redirected to MOSIP, which is representing National Identity System, and using eSignet, it will be provided with a login screen where the user could provide personal information. And as a return, eSignet will return back to the payment token registration portal the token. After that, registration portal will ask user to provide a type of payments and identifier to which this payment token will be linked. And when the user provide all needed details, token registration portal will do a discovery call to Mojaloop to check if this account exists and get some personal information. As a minimum, it could include person's name, but optionally, it could include full name, date of birth, and any number of KYC information. So having these two pieces of information about the user, portal will do KYC checks And in case the validation is passed, I mean, in our presentation, we will check full username. The portal will create a payment token and then register it in payment token adapter on payer DFSP and also in a Mojaloop. After that, the token will be returned to the beneficiary management system and can be used in the further payments. Let's try to see how it works in real demo. And first of all, we navigate to beneficiary management system. For now, it's just mock system, but to get an understanding how it works, I think it's fine. So first of all, we need to obtain payment token, and we click register token button. As I said, at this moment, we were redirected to MOSIP. And in terms, MOSIP, which is a national identity system, uses a signet to provide the user with a login screen where we can choose a couple of options to identify ourselves. As you can see, right now we have login by one-time password and biometrics. Let's use for this demo one-time password. And after that, we have to provide our VID, which we received from MOSIP during the initial registration on this system. I will use mine. So eSignet checks if the user exists on the platform, and after that it sends me to registered email one-time password, which I can use. Let's use this one to log in to the MOSIP portal. After that, MOSIP validate my credentials and returns token back to the portal. Currently, the user is asked to provide details where the payment should be redirected to. And in our demo, let's use the IBAN identity type. And I have prepared one of the test account, and after the clicking the button, as I said, the call to Mojaloop to get party information will be made. It's so-called discovery call, and after that, details of the user in Mifos and MOSIP platforms will be checked, and if everything passed successfully, as we can see, the payment token is created. And we can use this token further for the payments. Right now, after redirect to the beneficiary management system, this portal stored this token and will use it, as I said, for the further payments. And I'd like to hand over to Elijah to show you how the payments can be made.
Okay, thank you so much, Eugene, for the demonstration. So what I'm going to demonstrate is the operator of the beneficiary management system making a payment to a beneficiary whose alias was registered prior to this. So in this scenario, the government is going to make a payment to a beneficiary whose payment token was registered. We can see in the bottom right corner, there's a screenshot that has just appeared there. We have a screenshot of the page that shows the account number of the beneficiary whose IBAN string was registered just prior to this. As you can see, this is a page screenshot taken from the Mifos community app. This is a UI frontend that was built on top of the APIs provided by Fineract. In this walkthrough, we're going to simulate a payment from government that's going to come from their account, and the idea is for the funds to be credited in the beneficiary's account in a DFSP that is powered by Mifos, Partial Payment Act. So what will happen is that when a payment is triggered from this pair TTK, which is a G2P pair, the payment is going to move through the our deployment of Mojaloop. And once the Mojaloop receives this payment request, it's going to route them to the DFSP to which this payee exists. Now, prior to this, we registered the payee in the Mojaloop Oracle, and Eugene just showed us the process of how that was done using the Beneficiary Management System. So once the payment reaches the DFSP, the payee DFSP, that is where the Mifos is deployed. There are two things that usually happen. Number one, the payment is going to go through the payment token adapter. Now, payments are made against an alias, and that's something that you should note very importantly. Payments are made against an alias that are generated prior to this. Now, what the payment token adapter will do, it will do a registration, or it will do a registration at the point of creating the payment token. But at the point of payment, it will do a switch out. It will sort of do like a substitution of that alias with the actual IBAN string that was registered, which we just saw prior to this point. So once the alias has been switched out with the actual IBAN string, that payment request is then forwarded to the core connector, which is the Mifos core connector in this case, which is deployed. The Mifos core connector then eventually translates those Mojaloop specific calls to actual interaction with the Interact APIs. So once the get parties is done and the party has been accepted, and the quote that is returned from the payee is also accepted by the G2P pair, the payment is executed. The payment is executed through the Mifos core connector, which is the one that performs the actual crediting of funds on the account of the user that is the beneficiary to which the payment is intended. So I'm done with this walkthrough, which is just a visual process flow of what I'm going to show you in the actual demo. So let's get right into the demo. Yeah, so we're right into the demo. Here on the screen, I'm showing you the account balance for the account whose payment token was registered prior to this on the beneficiary management system. So we can see that the balance is 9,590 Kenyan shillings. What we want to see is funds being transferred from the G2P pair, which is government, and credited on this account. So what eventually we want to see is that the balance of this account should increase by the amount of money that we're going to send. So here I have the TTK, which is acting as the interface where we initiate payments as government. And I have got the payment token. This was registered on the beneficiary management system through the beneficiary registration portal. This is the one that is attached to the beneficiary that was registered. And so we're going to be making a payment to this, this payment token, okay? I also need to show you some of the amount of money that we're going to send. So we're going to send 1,000 Kenyan shillings. 1,000 Kenyan shillings is the amount of money that we're going to send from this G2P pair. And we're going to be making a payment against an alias, okay? So the alias is the payment token that I have just shown you that is configured here, right? Now let's initiate the payment and see how it goes. Okay, so this first request is an account lookup. So what happens is that this G2P pair is going to request Mojaloop to tell it that which user is connected to this. And in the response, we can see that it returns us a user. This is the user that is returned from the Mojaloop instance, and this was actually the user that was registered in the Beneficiary Management System against this payment token. Okay, then everything looks okay. We accept the party. That means we accept the party that has been returned, and eventually we accept the quote to tell Mojaloop that we accept the quote. Please proceed with the transfer. Now, the Mojaloop instance that we're using is an active deployment, and all these calls are going to that Mojaloop instance that we have deployed. When we go back to this screen that shows the account balance, we should see the amount of money that has been deposited increase significantly. So the amount is now 10,590, which is 1,000 greater than the previous amount. This successfully proves our concept that we are trying to achieve, and we see that the G2P pair through Mojaloop has been able to credit funds to an account holder in an Apache Finera powered DFSP. Thank you.
Thank you, Elijah. That was a really good demo, and I hope that everybody understands what they saw there. This is very important, and we want to see this being rolled out into pilots and ideally live services in the very near future. And we look forward to further collaboration with other DPG projects in the coming months. So thank you very much, and goodbye.